Good morning, students. In continuation with our topic non-cooperation movement, where in my previous session I have explained to you how various social groups participated in this movement. Though the term Swaraj meant different things to the different people. So as already we have done how this movement was taken in the towns. So today let's see how this movement went on towards the countryside. Well, children, the non-cooperation movement spread to the countryside into many folds. That means over here we are going to talk about the struggles of peasants and tribals. Now, when we talk about the peasants, children, in Awadh, peasants were led by a leader named Baba Ramchandra. Now, he was a sannyasi who was an indentured laborer initially in the Fiji. Now, over here, the peasants, they started the movement against the talukdars and landlords. Now, these were those people who demanded from peasants a very high rent for a variety of the reasons. Now, peasants over here had to do begar. Begar means labor that villages were where the villages were forced to contribute without any payment. That means they have to work, but in return they will not get any payment. So over here the peasants were forced to do begar and work. They used to work at landlord's farm without any payment. Now, as a tenant, these people, they had no security and any time they could be thrown out. So the peasants, they demanded a reduction of revenue and abolition of begar. At the same time, what they did, they social boycott the oppressive landlords. That means they refused to work for the landlords. Like in many places where Naye Dhobi Bandhs were organized by panchayats, and over here the landlords, the service for the landlords were deprived, like the service of a barber or a washerman. So these people were not ready to work for the landlords. So children, in June 1920, Jawaharlal Nehru, he started, taking a round around the villages in Awadh, talking to the villagers and was trying to understand their grievances. So by October, Jawaharlal Nehru and Baba Ramchandra, along with few other members, they have set a Ud Kisan Sabha. And within a month, over 300 branches were set up in the villages around the region. Now over here, when this non-cooperation movement began, the efforts of the Congress was to integrate the Awadh peasants and struggle into the wider platform. That means as the movement spread, in 1921, the houses of the talukdars, merchants were attacked, bazaars were looted, and grain hoards were taken away. Now, this movement was started by Mahatma Gandhi with the motive to, let's say, against the colonial rule, against the Britishers, and that too a non-violent movement. But the peasants over here, they took it in a very wrong way. And for them, they took this movement as against the talukdars or the landlords, and to teach them a lesson, what these people did, they attacked the bazaars, they looted the grain hoards, and in many places the local leaders, they told peasants that Gandhiji had declared that no tax were to be paid and land has to be redistributed among the poor. So this was how this movement was taken in the countryside. But at the same time, when we talk about the tribal communities, how these people they took this movement. Now children, these tribal peasants they interpreted the message of Mahatma Gandhi and the idea of Swaraj. How? In another way. Now over here in the Gooden Hills of Andhra Pradesh, these people they came out with a militant guerrilla movement which was spread in the early 1920. Now this was form of a struggle that the Congress had never approved. What they used to do over here was, and why they did this? The reason was because in the forest the colonial government had closed the forest area for these tribal communities and they were prevented from entering the forest, also not allowed to graze their cattle or to collect the fuel wood and fruits. Now this was not tolerated by the hill people. Now because not only their livelihood was affected because of this, but according to them, even their traditional rights were being denied. So when government forced them to do begar for road building, the hill people revolted. And this revolt was under their leader Alluri Sitaram Raju. This was a person who claimed that he has a variety of special powers. He could predict the future, he could heal the people and could even survive the bullet shots. Now the tribal communities proclaimed him as an incarnation of God. So this Raju, Alluri Sitaram Raju, he convinced the people and inspired them for the non-cooperation movement, persuaded the tribal communities to wear khadi and give up drinking. But at the same time, he asserted that India could be liberated only by the use of force, not non-violence. So the Gooden rebels they attacked police station, attempted to kill British officials, carried on guerrilla warfare for achieving Swaraj. And ultimately, in 1924, Raju was captured and executed. Till now, he is proclaimed as a hero of folk communities. And if we talk about how this movement was taken towards the plantation, so children, again the people who were working in the plantation took this movement and interpreted it in yet another way. For plantation workers in Assam, freedom meant right to move freely in and out of the confined space in which they were enclosed. That means that according to these people who were working in plantation where they were not allowed to go back to their villages, according to them Swaraj means that now they are allowed to move freely in and out of the plantation. So under the Inland Immigration Act of 1859, plantation workers were not permitted to leave the tea gardens without permission. In fact, they were rarely given such permission. So when they heard of non-cooperation movement, thousands of workers, they defied the authorities, left the plantation and headed towards their home. As they believed that Gandhi Raj has come, so everyone would be given a land in their own village. But children, do you know? These people who left the plantation, they never reached their homes. It is believed that stranded on the way by railway and steamer strike, they were caught by the police and brutally beaten up. So children, the vision of this movement were not defined by the Congress program. They interpreted the term Swaraj in their own ways. Imagining it to be a time when all suffering and all troubles would come to an end. This was the time when the tribals they chanted Gandhiji's name and raised the slogan demanding Swatantra Bharat. They were emotionally relating to all India agitation. So this was how this movement of non-cooperation was taken towards the let's say was taken in the plantation, where the people, they thought that in non-cooperation means that they were allowed to go back to their homes. Good morning, students.